Hi. Welcome back, everybody, to Delusions of Grandeur with Matty K. My name is Matty K, and this is my chair. Can you hear him squeak, or is he only speaking to me? Can you hear him? Listen. Can you hear that, or is it just something that I'm I can hear it inside of my head. So it has been a minute. It has been a minute. So I recently moved back to Los Angeles, California, which is probably the most famous Los Angeles, California. It's also very close to LA, which is really convenient. And I can't tell you where I live, but allegedly, hypothetically, it might be on an Air Force base due to my alleged connections with aliens, which is before you judge me and think that that sounds really pretentious, it's an act of national security, for myself, not for other people. But I am very giving, so I do want to help other people if I can after taking care of my own needs, of course, which isn't being selfish. You've gotten me rambling, but so I recently moved, so we finally have the new podcast studio set up, which is my walk-in closet. And what I did with the walk-in closet, because I don't have any of my clothes in here, because all of my clothes are either uh, on a shelf above the washer and dryer because they get clean in the dryer, right? So then I take them out and I just throw them up top because it's very convenient. And I change in the bathroom. So I take my dirty clothes off, I just put them right in the washer. I don't need a hamper. You know what my hamper is? My hamper is the washing machine. So I don't ever take my clothes off in my bedroom. I take them off in the bathroom before I shower. So I take my clothes off the shower, I put my dirty clothes right in the washing machine, and then when it's full, I wash them and then I put them in the dryer, and then after the dryer, they just go right up top of the shelf above, which is supposed to be for like laundry detergent and washer and dryer supplies, but how many supplies do you need? You know what I mean? Like my supplies are fine. They're up there. And then so I have like a hallway closet, and my hallway is basically like 1 foot by 1 foot. So it's not really a hallway as much of like, it's kind of like a hall L. It's like a little L shape. And so I keep my clothes in there too. But then I have to leave the bathroom to get those clothes, which is kind of inconvenient because there might be the possibility of nudity at that point. And I always leave my window open in the big area. You might call it the living room. I call it my studio because I have a secret fashion brand that none of you know about that takes up that space. But I, uh, so that was a really short way of me saying that I don't need to keep my clothes in the closet because I keep them on top of the washer and dryer and um in the hallway closet, which is a very long hall. It's so long. It's very long. I need a carpet for this very long hallway. So my walk-in closet is empty. So what I do to turn this into a podcasting studio slash live streaming studio is you go to Walmart and you buy those foam egg crates. So if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or whatever else I put this, you can see. If you're just listening, please drive safely or please fall asleep quietly. And I hope that you have good dreams or blackout sleep. I hope that you have no night terrors or sleep paralysis or nightmares, the kind spelled both ways. You know what I mean? Like nightmares, like a horse, and nightmares, like the bad shit. But this is like the foam um, mattress pad toppers. It's squishy and it's zigzag, and it looks exactly like those expensive sound booth tile things, and you just put it everywhere, and you can attach it. You want to know how I attached it? I attached it using um, using putty and this is the one on the door. Putty and paper clips. I'll be able to show you. See this? See that's the door. See that? I put the paper clip through the foam, and then I mush the putty on right there, and that's how you can do that. And then these curtains are from my bestie from another testy, my brother from another mother, my dude, who he's my friend who has become my family. He and his wife just had a fucking baby. I'm now an uncle. That's why I have a mustache. You are legally not allowed to be an uncle unless you have a mustache. This child needs to have at least one uncle with a mustache. So if I shave this, one of his other uncles needs to grow a mustache. I don't make the rules. I just follow them because I'm an American and I am, well, I'm a good person is what I would say. But my sister's fiance hates when I call myself a good person. And I tried to tell him, I was like, it's not me being arrogant or vain or pretentious or any of that. It's me trying to speak that truth into my life. You know what I mean? It's like, you can do it. Believe in yourself. It's like that. It's to stop myself from becoming a bad person. I told him that. I was trying to be like, look, dude, like, it's kind of a self-deprecating joke, but it's also my way of trying to be like, I believe in myself. You know what I mean? I don't want the world to turn me into a gray blob of piece of shit. You know what I mean? So anyway, my friend who, this is what happened, okay? Strangers, work colleagues, acquaintances, friendly acquaintances, friends, good friends, besties, brothers. Do you understand? Do you understand that strangers can become brothers? Do you understand? Isn't it just look at one of your besties, look at one of your pals, one of your homies, and look at them and be like, there was a time when you were a stranger. Isn't that fucking weird? Like, I didn't know you. I didn't know you. Look at this blue light. It's from my very expensive free USB Audio Technica that I got for free from my dad's work thing. My headphones are also Audio Technica, which I like how this podcast is very ADHD friendly. We are going to get back to these curtains. The podcast episode is not about the curtains. The podcast episode today is about, holy shit, this is a very long intro. Is this intro the whole, because I was going to play my new intro. And by new, I mean I made it in 2020. Hello. Today's episode is called Jake Gyllenhaal was in a terrible accident and I only have 8 toenails. Cue intro that I made in the summer of 2020. I made the music and the visual. And if you're just listening, please drive safely. Or please, you know what you're doing right now, please do it safely. If you're watching, if you're curious, you can watch on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever else. I just realized I might post this on Facebook. Just like, I don't know where videos are. But if you're just listening, you can hear the song. If you're watching, get ready for 52 seconds of your eyes elationing. They're elationing. Excuse me. They're elative. They're elating. Dilation celebration. I don't know. I just watched Trolls 2 the other day with my sister and her fiance, and it was like a drug trip. And I was sober while I was watching it. So we're gonna cue the intro. 9 minutes into the 10-minute podcast. Maybe it should just be an outro. Maybe I should just put it at the end. Maybe I should just put the intro at the end. Okay, so this is what's gonna happen. This was like an A24 opening intro. So we're gonna cue the intro. Welcome to Delusions of Grandeur with Matty K. That was pretty sick, huh? Okay, so anyway, so then you put the foam, and then my my little duder. So you got these foam things, and you put them on the door, put them everywhere except on the light, because you cannot put them on the light because the foam is like, there's a warning label on the back, and it's basically like, thank you for buying this mattress foam pad topper. Holy fuck, it's flammable as fuck. It's made from poly chemical name, and if you blink at it too much, it will catch fire and kill your whole family. Is basically what it's basically what it said. It's like, if you snap your fingers too close to this foam, it'll die. If you fart too close next to this foam, oh, oh, holy fucking shit, that scared the shit out of me, and I even knew that it probably was gonna happen. The foam is falling off the door. It fell off earlier because it's not sticking. It's sticking all over the walls. It's not. The door is shut. I live alone. My apartment is locked. In my peripheral, what do I think? Like something's attacking me? Yes, I did. I'm in fight or flight. So that's how you stay alive. The foam is falling off of the wall, and it just kind of beveled. You can see, and it scared the butthole out of me. This podcast is not 100% clean, but it's 100% honest. So this is gonna keep falling. That scared the shit out of me. I'm glad that came on camera. I'm glad that we caught that on camera. So the foam is extremely flammable. Oh, and there it goes. It just fell on me. And it's to block the reverberations off the door, so it's not like, because if it's like, it's really echoey in here, you clap your hands, like it's really like tinny. So you put the foam for your sound waves, and it's like, it's also to keep, like, right now my washer and dryer are going because I have an in-unit washer dryer because I'm living my best fucking life. I honestly, an in-unit washer dryer in an apartment is the best thing in the whole world. It's the best thing in the whole world. It's worth its weight in Dogecoin, and it's the best thing. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world, actually. So you're just gonna fall on the floor. So the foam's on the floor, and so you put the foam up, and then my friend got me this curtain. He got me this curtain a while ago. It's a nice backdrop. It's mustard yellow because he knows I like yellow. And you just put it, and it's like, bam, podcasting studio / live stream studio. So, and then I got my table. I got this chair. I got this chair from Costco. I used to have a chair that I got from the trash, but I moved. And when I moved, I literally just packed my car full of shit and I shipped it. And then I just got on a plane with a bunch of bags. I really was like minimalisming it. I did things very minimalistically. So then we've got the studio. So and then also, so it's like to block out the sounds of like the washer and dryer going right now, but I don't think you can hear it. And then on one hand, I was like, oh, I want to be like cognizant of my neighbors, but my neighbor is an asshole piece of shit. And so I don't feel bad, because like the short version of it was like, the first time I met him, I was in the elevator and I had just gotten a pizza delivered, and I was like, hey dude, you want a slice of pizza? Because like I live alone. Like I wasn't going to eat all 8 slices in that moment. And he didn't even look at me. He just laughed and then walked out without saying anything. And then later that night at 4 a.m., I heard him screaming at his girlfriend, or I don't know what she is to him. And then yeah. So he's not very nice. So you can feel good about yourself thinking that he's a piece of shit, because it's the truth. So basically, I was moving, so I didn't have the studio set up, and also I was focusing on building my 1 minute of video content. So I've been making a lot of like 1 minute videos or less than 1 minute videos. I've been like in my meme era, and it's been a very good era, and it's been very emotional for me because I wish that I had gotten into that era earlier, but I'm going to not live in the past, and I'm not going to live in the future, and I'm barely going to live in the present. You know what I mean? Because I think I live too much in the present. I think I need to do a little bit of exploration. So, so we're back. So, you can listen to Delusions of Grandeur with Matty K anywhere you get your podcasts from. So anywhere you stream audio or podcasts, the podcast app or Google or Amazon or Spotify or anything, please follow me there. And then you could already be listening, or you could be watching on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Please like this video and subscribe and leave a comment. And if you don't know what to say, leave a little emoji. You know, when I don't know what to say, I do the Saturn emoji, or I do a hang loose emoji, or I do a palm tree emoji. Those are my go-tos when I want to like be good vibes, but I don't know what to say. I just do a little one of those. I told somebody that once in a text message, and then he texted me back a Saturn emoji, and I was like, "You're very good. You learned." So, at dogwmk on all platforms. I guess we're just doing the promos just like in the middle of the podcast. Usually this is at the end. I don't know. Just search DOGWMK or Delusions of Grandeur with Matty K anywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. You want to join the Discord? I just fucking started it, dude. Inner Circle group chat. I basically am going to treat the Discord like a giant group chat, and I love the idea of Discord because it's a way of kind of bringing everybody together from different places. Like some people kind of only know me from Facebook because I had like a viral Facebook reel that it got like 1 million views. It was like the dating is insane video. And then some people just know me from like Instagram, just like posting funny memes. Some people know I have a podcast. Some people don't know I have a podcast. And those people need to fucking educate themselves before they get in lots of legal trouble. Not from me, because I'm a good person, but from secret societies. There's so many secret societies trying to recruit me. It's exhausting. So anyway, I think we've basically caught you up to date on like why there was a hiatus of the podcast. I was moving and getting the studio set up and blah, 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 blah. So that was a really beautiful 18-minute intro. And usually these episodes are only 10 minutes each. So today we're going to, you know what? Fuck the rules. I can do whatever I want. So today's episode is called Jake Gyllenhaal Was in a Terrible Accident and I Only Have 8 Toenails. And this is the podcast. Welcome. So for those of you who don't know, I only have 8 toenails. Now, for a while, I only had 9 toenails. But then on 4th of July, my right pinky... Hold up. You want to know what toenail I'm missing, don't you? That's very important Matty K lore. So my left foot has always been fine. He's fine. He's good. Like, he's good. Like, I could take a photo of him. You know what I mean? If I could, I would. But I don't know if it'll work. But more on that in another episode. It's my right foot that's always been the problem. My right foot, I only have 4 nails. It's been about 13 years since my big right toe nail decided to just, you know, he turned green. I was on tour with a band as the merch guy, and you know, my toenail turned green. And probably because I was swimming in a river in the South. And then when I got back from that tour, I didn't want to tell my mom because this other band asked me to go on tour with them because they were fucking jealous of the other fucking band. And props to that other band that took me first because it got me the second band tour because they were jealous. So I wanted to go on that tour, so I didn't tell my mom. So I went on that tour, but that tour was like a month. The first tour was like a week. And it was kind of like regional, but the other tour was like a month. We went to like Florida and shit. And that was the time I swam in the Miami Ocean, and I went to a restaurant that only served cereal. and I used water instead of milk. So when I finally got back from that tour, so I was gone probably for like 6 weeks total, because there was like it was like 2 months. I don't know. There was like a couple weeks in between the tours. I got back. My toenail was green, and there was a black line at the top where my toenail had detached, and and my mom just was like, she thought I was gonna lose the toe, but I did not lose the toe, but I did lose the toenail. They ripped it off. Basically, the doctor ripped it off. And I'm very good with pain, but it hurt. And then the doctor was like, "It'll grow back. It'll be fine. It will grow back and you'll have a pink toenail again." And guess what, motherfuckers? It hasn't grown back. Or at least I don't even recognize you anymore, toenail. It's a little nub. And he gets all nasty, and I have to clean him and cut him and file him and sand him down. I have to dip him in acid. I have to, constant tea tree oil and organic apple cider vinegar soaks. Just constant. So I don't really acknowledge him as a nail. He's kind of like a zombie. A zombie's not really a human. It's not really not a human, but it's not a human. You know what I mean? So it's like my zombie toenail. So it's like I only have 9 nails, because that is not a nail. It's not a nail because there's something there. But like, you can't look at it too long, because if you look at it too long, we enter into a new level of relationship. You're very inner circle. If you ever see my big right toenail, especially close up, I'm talking like a foot away, like eye to my toenail or closer, we are very good friends. Not because I give a shit. I don't give a shit at all. But it's for you. You will become. I would post a photo of my foot, but my manager, he isn't licensed in the foot pick community yet. Capital YET. So more on that later. So I only have 9 toenails. So on July 4th, which is a Tuesday, 2023, 1 week ago to this fucking day, I'm walking out of a supermarket, so stoked. I recently became friends with these 2 brothers from Texas. We're going to have a 4th of July event. I got hot dogs and burgers, and I bought a fucking cheesecake, and it was going to be lit. And I was wearing flip-flops because I live in California. Okay? And it's July. Although I did used to walk around New York City in flip-flops, and I actually did not get foot abrasions. What's that word? Collagens? What's the word? Pimples? Chalazions? Calluses? Blisters. The word I was looking for was blisters, and you didn't help me at all. You just watched me suffer like a little pig becoming bacon. You sick fuck. You didn't help me at all. And if you have any self-respect, you will subscribe to my YouTube channel right now, because how dare you not help me, you little bacon eater. Bacon's good. So, and if you put it on a cookie sheet in the oven, you're bacon. So, and if you put brown sugar on top of that bacon, your life will change for the better. So I was super stoked because I made these new friends and I'm excited, and I'm walking, and my right pinky toenail decides that he's going to get into a fight with the shopping cart wheel. Now my left foot and the left shopping cart wheel are fine. They're good. They're not friends, but they're not enemies. They're neutral. They're indifferent. They're just going about their day. But my right foot and the right shopping cart wheel, and when I say shopping cart wheel, I don't mean shopping cartwheel. I mean shopping cart wheel. Something is brewing, something that I was unaware of, something to this day. We will never know because I do not know what they were arguing about, but they got into a fight. And graphic trigger warning, if you are upset by how do I phrase this? Toenails getting ripped off in parking lots, you might want to continue listening because this will help you overcome your fear. And if you stop listening, it'll be bad for my analytics and bad for the algorithm. And I am a very famous podcaster, influencer, and content creator, and you are lucky to be here. Okay? So just push through. Okay? Just push through. Push through like the eyelashes that are falling into my eyes all the time. Because they're just best friends. And they just want to party. They just want to okay. Well, I can multitask. We're going to get these eyelashes out while I keep telling the story. So anyways, my right pinky toenail gets ripped off by the shopping cart in the supermarket grocery store, because I don't know how you pronounce it. You know what I mean? Like, some of you motherfuckers call it soda, some of you call it pop. I usually say soda pop so that I don't fucking lose an audience. You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to appeal to the left, I'm trying to appeal to the right. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make all of you motherfuckers happy because, you know, Thor knows you guys can't get along. You know what I mean? So so when I say it gets ripped off, that is a way of kind of like letting you know what happened, because the truth is way worse. The truth is way worse. The truth of the situation is, if my toenail got ripped off, that would have hurt less. It didn't get ripped off. I already know what's going to happen and it's painful. It didn't get ripped off like pulling out a tooth. It got... I can't tell you. See, I'm going to say it got ripped off, but that's what happened. Happened, past tense, but it's not what actually happened in the moment. What happened in the moment is like you tell people, oh, my toenail got ripped off. But what actually happened was my foot slammed into and under the wheel. So the toenail didn't get ripped off. Okay. For those of you listening, I'm doing visual demonstration of pulling my fingers. Ripped off. It got... This is the wheel. This is the toenail. It got shoved off. Now, getting ripped off sounds worse than getting shoved off, but the reality, when you think about it, my foot slammed into the wheel and went under the wheel, and it pressed back, and it got shoved off. It got ripped off backwards. It didn't get ripped off forwards. It got ripped off backwards. The thing with those types of pains, like, you ever bang your shin and like the pain is delayed? You're like, oh, this is going to hurt in 0.2 seconds. And it kind of like, the pain kind of creeps in. Like, you bang it, it doesn't hurt right away. And then the pain enters. That's how it was. And also, at first, it didn't look bad. Like, the first like 0.1 seconds, it didn't hurt and didn't look bad. And I didn't even think it was that bad. I was like, oh, I just like hit it. It's not even... It's like nothing. I didn't even think it was going to bleed. I did not think it was going to bleed, because you bang your pinky toes all the time. Personally, I think we should get our pinky toes I was going to say shut off. I think we should get our pinky toes cut off. Okay, here's my amendum. I think all toenails should be permanently and medically removed. It's what I want to happen to me. My dad and my friend, the friend who got me these curtains, are trying to stop me. So far, they've succeeded, but only 80% succeeded. You know what I mean? Um, but they, I think everybody should have their toenails medically and permanently removed because why do you need them? You don't. And also, I think we should get our pinky toes chopped off because, like, they're always getting hit. And, like, I don't need them. Oh, it's for balance? Really? Excuse me. I've been doing yoga for about 6 months now, and I haven't used my pinky toes once. So, no. No, thank you. So, yes. Do I have any tattoos? No. Do I want to get my toenails permanently medically removed? Yes. So, so then I look down and it just starts like pouring blood. Like it's bad. I have like a 10-minute drive home. It's like getting all over my flip-flops, sticking. It's not really cauterizing. And meanwhile, you know what I mean? Like my bags are full of like deviled eggs and cheesecake and ice and shit. So I go up to my apartment and I pour hydrogen peroxide all over it, and then I wrap it in gauze. I didn't know there was nonstick gauze. So I wrapped it in the stringy gauze, which is bad because that can solidify with a scab and rip off really painful. So then we go about our 4th of July celebrations and we're like grilling hot dogs and hamburgers and we go to a park, we watch fireworks, we run into my sister and her fiance and they have hot chocolate and it's so wonderful and awesome. Then we go to the beach and we go for a walk, not in the sand because I was like, "Hey guys, I have an open wound." But we go for a walk on the sidewalk and I partake in that legal you know what. Maybe it's not legal in your state or country, but guess what? In California, it's legal. And then we go back to the apartment and then I'm like, "Hey, bro, you want to see my toe?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then I show him and it's like still actively bleeding. And he's like, "Dude, I can see the muscle." And I have a very high pain tolerance for physical pain. Um, but when he said that he could see the muscle, I was like, I don't feel good. The emotions of it. The emotions of it were just like, I cannot do this. So I was like, "Hey, I don't know if I need stitches or it to be cauterized or a skin graft, or I just want to make sure that I cleaned it properly because my mom's a nurse and she scares me um and like medical shows scare me with like sepsis and going septic and getting infections. Like you watch these medical shows and they'll be like, the guy in room 1 had both his arms and legs ripped off, and the doctor will be like, "Oh, no worries. We're going to reattach him. He'll be fine." And then the nurse will be like, "The guy in room 2 got a paper cut." And the doctor's like, "I know. He's gone septic. He's going to die. It traveled to his heart." And it's like, this is stressing me out. Plus, my mom's a nurse. And when I say that she scares me, she doesn't scare me in general. I mean, she scares me when it comes to medical stuff. She's always like, brush your teeth or you'll die, that kind of stuff, mom stuff, mom nurse stuff. She was a nurse in the 80s, which is why she doesn't remember the 80s. And why I ask her, like, "Hey, what was Madonna and Michael Jackson like? What were the 80s like? What was like the fashion like?" She doesn't know because she was eating popcorn out of a bedpan, which is what she loves telling me. And my dad actually worked at a burn center. So they were both like medical people. I just realized like they both were in the medical field, but they'd never worked together. That's so weird. What, were they both just working at hospitals separately? Why? Why would you work at separate hospitals? This is really confusing right now. Anyways, so my new friend took me to urgent care walk-in clinic because I didn't want to go to the ER because I'm like, everybody's going to be there with their arms blown off from fireworks. But apparently the walk-in clinic urgent care places turn into like not walk in places at night, and they were like, we can't help you. And so I had to go to an ER in I had to go to the emergency room in by the ocean. And so I go in, and they like didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. There's this guy peeing all over the floor. There's this lady throwing up into a bag, and all the nurses were in there like I'm over it era, you know what I mean? And they were all pissed off. And then this guy x-rayed my toe, and I swear it's like he had never x-rayed anything. I had to remind him to please put the lead cape over my, area, so that he didn't, destroy my, 2 areas, 3, you know what I mean? Depending on how you count them. And I was like, hi, can you please put a lead cloak over my lap so that I don't get, radiation poisoning in my area? And then he forgot to take it away. So I was like, hey, do you want your cloak back? And then also the thing he put my foot on. And then when he was trying to like separate the toes. It's like he'd never done it before. He like taped my pinky toe, which he was checking to see if it was broken. So if I was checking to see if the pinky toe was broken, I would tape the other 4 toes away from the pinky toe. No, this dude takes my pinky toe and tapes it bending away from the other 4 toes and wraps it around the edge of the bed that I was on. He was like, oh, I'm going to check if this toe's broken. Let me just bend it. And it hurt. So I don't know if it's broken or not because they never told me, because they're really good at their jobs. And then this one dude came in, and he was like at the end of everything. You know what I mean? He was not having a good day, and he was like saying people don't appreciate him. And I was like, you know what, dude? I appreciate you. I'm really thankful for you. Thank you. And he was like, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And like, because we had a moment, he was like, here, I'm going to give you these. And because he literally just put a Band-Aid on the fucking toe. And he wrapped it in medical tape. But he was like, here, let me hook you up. And he gave me a couple bandages and the medical tape. And I was like, wow. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to be like cynical or jaded or like mean or disrespectful, but like he gave me medical supplies at the hospital. It's not like he gave me like a Taylor Swift ticket. You know what I mean? I don't want to go, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? That's something he could have done. Karma is a cat, purring in my lap because it loves me, floating like a acrobat. Me and Karma vibe like that. Karma is my bestie from another testy. Karma is a check about to bounce. Ah. Which is weird for Ice Spice to say because I thought that Gen Z doesn't believe in checks. Anyways. So then I take an Uber back because my buddies had to go to sleep because they have to wake up and do Texas oil stuff. They're very, very, very busy, and I'm proud of them. And so then I went home, and then I only had 8 toenails. So flash forward to a couple days later, the wound has cauterized. I had rinsed it in cold water and put antibacterial ointment on it and changed it with nonstick gauze every 24 hours because you want to use hydrogen peroxide or alcohol to clean it initially to disinfect it, but you don't want to pour it on as it's healing because that could kill the new cells too. So you just want to use gentle water. If you must, use gentle soap and water, but I just use some clean American made water, probably full of microplastics, which if you ever feel lonely, please know you are never truly alone because you are full of microplastics and they're never going to leave you. So that's something you can hold on to. I recommend getting a Life Straw water bottle because that filters out the microplastics. That's what I have. I got it from Bed Bath & Beyond. I use a coupon, although Bed Bath & Beyond kind of died. They kind of went out of business, didn't they? They did, I think, allegedly. R.I.P. So, but you can probably get us from other places. You can drink out of a stream with those, which is what's cool. So anyways, so my foot had like cauterized and it was scabbing It was juicy for a while. I'm going to say this. It was juicy. It was moist. It was wet. It was juicy for a while, for a minute. You know what I mean? There was, yeah. But then, okay. So then, like, that happened on a Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. So then Sunday, Monday, Sunday? Was this Sunday? I'm going to say it was Sunday. So then Sunday, the apartment in my my light. Let me start that over. So I was in my apartment and the power went out. The power in my apartment went out. Okay, so I called my friend who's from Texas. And I liked saying that. You know what I mean? It makes me feel cool and special. And we were like outside, we were hanging out. We ran into this girl who's in the Air Force, and she's really cool. And she has good taste in music. She likes 2000s emo music. And then the power came back on. So we went upstairs. And here's the thing, when I walked downstairs, I took the stairs. I didn't take the elevator because you should never take the elevator when the power goes out because it won't work. Elevators these days run on power. So, but I took the stairs down. But when I went up, I took the elevator because my foot hurt. I wasn't going to take the stairs. But here's the crazy thing is literally, like, I walk out of the elevator, I walk into my apartment, and as soon as I walk back into the apartment, the power goes out. It's maybe you know what? I don't want to dox myself, but it's a very short walk from the elevator to my apartment. I won't say how short because the paparazzi is out for me, and secret societies and the governments are tracking me. So I can't dox myself. It's very high stakes. But basically it was like, let's just say allegedly 30 seconds. And because you don't know how fast I walk, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh shit, I could have gotten stuck in the elevator. But I didn't know the power was going to go back off. So then the power went off. And then I was sitting in my apartment and my buddies shined a laser through my window. I felt like I was in an 80s movie and someone was like throwing a pebble against my window or standing outside like holding a boombox or like climbing up the lattice ivy work to, sneak into my room. And it was so fun. It's like having friends that live in the same apartment as me is like your life is a movie. You know what I mean? And that's how I like to live my life, as if it's a movie. So, like instead of calling me or texting me, they just shined a laser, and it's so funny because I knew that was them. Because you would think my first instinct was alien abduction, but I knew it was them. I know that laser. So I went on the balcony. I was like, "Hey, what's up?" So here's the part where Jake Gyllenhaal comes into play. So for those of you who do not know, Jake Gyllenhaal is a plant. He lives on my balcony, and he's my roommate. And he's a new friend. He's very new. We met in April, at the end of April, basically May, because he was given to me as a gift. But I don't own him because you can't own people, you fucking piece of shit. So he's my roommate, and we're friends. We're new friends. So, but when I went out on the balcony, it was dark because I couldn't put my balcony light on because the power went out. So I fucking kicked Jake. I allegedly. Okay, let me rephrase this because my lawyer's going to be watching. Due to the power outage that I had no control over, I allegedly kicked with my, thank goodness, left foot. Thank goodness I didn't kick it with my right foot because my right foot was like just scabbed over. And Jake Gyllenhaal fell over. And my first initial thought was, oh shit, what if some of his dirt gets in my open wound and it gets infected and I have to amputate my foot? Because when I was down the first time outside with my friends, I was like, oh, you want to see how he's healing? So I took off my bandage and showed them. So then I was letting it air out. So then when I came upstairs, the The wound was open, so I could have gotten fucking dirt in there. Then I would have had to chop off my foot. If I had had to chop off my toe, that's, goals. But if I had to chop off my foot, that is not goals. Now, here's the thing. If you've had to chop off a foot, I have no idea what you've been through. I'm sure that you have risen above. I hope that you are doing well, and I hope you know that you can pursue your life. You know what I mean? There are people who can do amazing things, and I'm sure you can do things that I can't do. You know what I mean? So, no disrespect to you at all. But I currently have 2 feet, and just personally, just my opinion, I would like to keep both my feet. Now that I was like, you know what I mean? And then I screamed to my buddies downstairs. I was like, I kicked Jake Gyllenhaal. And they're like, we can't fucking hear you. So I went downstairs and I was like, I kicked Jake Gyllenhaal. He was in a terrible accident, allegedly, because I don't want to get sued. You know what I mean? And I have to protect myself legally. And I was like, oh, I was worried the dirt was going to get in my open wound and it get infected. I have to chop on my foot, but luckily it's fine. And they're like, well, how's Jake? And I'm like, they're like, did you pick him back up? Did you put the dirt back in his pot? How much dirt did he lose? And I was like, he's still tipped over. I was like, this is a crime scene. You're not supposed to touch the crime scene. This is evidence. You know what I mean? Like, I can't mess with that. And emotionally, in the moment, I was spiraling and I didn't really have the time to, because I wanted to go see my friends, you know what I mean? And also, like, my foot, I was, like, worried about. I was still, like, reeling from if it was going to get infected or something. And so we were hanging out, but then the power went back on. We didn't even have a chance to play Would You Rather, and I grabbed the Would You Rather book. We were going to play. It was going to be fun, but we didn't have time because the power got right back on. And then the one brother got 2 pizzas delivered, and luckily I had just eaten a hot dog before the power went off the first time, so I was set. And then we said our goodbyes, and then I did not take the elevator that time going up because I was like, I don't need to be trapped in an elevator because my friend was in the movie Speed with Keanu Reeves in the 90s, 2-time Oscar-nominated Speed. And that movie with Jeff Daniels, it starts in an elevator. You know what I mean? I don't need to be trapped in an elevator. That shit is scary. So I took the stairs, even though my foot was in pain. I was working on my glutes. And so then I went upstairs and I was in an emotional place where I could help Jake. Like, I could help him. So I decided to help him. So I put all of his dirt back. I didn't, he was crooked, but I didn't uncrooked him because I was like, this is, a part of your journey. You know what I mean? You've got to adapt. So I just put the dirt back in and I left him kind of crooked. But then I put a lot of water to, like, mush the dirt down. And I was like, you know what? The sun is going to fix you and you're going to grow. You're going to grow physically, you're going to grow emotionally, and you're going to grow out of this crooked position that you find yourself in. And I think the movement was actually good for him because plants don't move, like, location-wise. They move, like, growing-wise. If you've ever seen a time lapse of, like, a Planet Earth documentary, that shit is scary. Plants look like animals when you speed them up. It's really creepy. They look like they're alive, which they are, and they can talk to each other through their root system. But guess what? Jake Gyllenhaal lives in a plant pot on my balcony. He's not talking to jack shit through his root system, okay? He is alone. For all he knows, he is the only plant in the universe. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, are there aliens? Are we alone? You know, where are all the aliens? It's just us, right? That is Jake Gyllenhaal right now. So, if you were curious, his first name is Jake Gyllenhaal. His nickname is Jake. I call him Jake for short. But his first name is Jake Gyllenhaal. His last name is K, like me, because I'm Matty K. My first name is Matty. My last name is K. So his name is Jake Gyllenhaal K, and I'm Matty K. But he just calls me Matty, and I call him Jake. But when I refer to him as for other people, I say Jake Gyllenhaal because that's his full first legal name. So Jake actually is not doing well. So the update is Jake is in the intensive care unit in the emergency room at the hospital at the ER. And I have reason to believe that his nurse is stealing his pudding cup. So it's not going well at all. And um it's very emotional for me because, like, look, I did not put him there. The apartment, I'm a victim. Okay. The apartment's power went off. I have an open wound. You know what I mean? He and I are both victims. I'm the victim. He's the casualty. He's the shrapnel. You know what I mean? He's the, what's that word? Not casualty, not shrapnel. He's the, parameters? What's that word? He's the casualty. What's that word for, like, people on the sides that kind of get affected by stuff and they just kind of chalk it up to, like, oh well, he's a um I don't know. My brain's trying to block it out because it's very emotional for me. But I don't know if Jake's gonna make it or not. Because before this his leaves were kind of turning brown and crispy. I think it's because he wasn't getting watered enough. But then I watered him a bunch and I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with him. So basically, thank you for listening to this episode of Delusions of Grandeur with Matty K. Please pray to Thor for Jake Gyllenhaal's speedy recovery and for the speedy recovery of my toe. I, as an 8-toenailed person, feel oppressed by 10-toenailed people. How dare you? So please follow me on all social media platforms at dogwmk or search Delusions of Grandeur with Matty K. You can listen to all podcast episodes wherever you stream audio or watch/listen on YouTube. I just put out a new YouTube video. It's 25 minutes called Try and Crumble Cookies for the First Time. And that will, just a warning, it will make you hungry. So I prescribe having snacks, preferably a cookie, but if not a cookie, something. Thank you to everybody who's been really supporting me lately. I really appreciate you, and it means a lot to me. And goodbye.